Theresa May sacks Deputy Prime Minister Damian Green after he lied amid allegations of pornography on Commons computer. The Prime Minister demanded Mr. Green's resignation as First Secretary of State for breaching the ministerial code. Theresa May has sacked her deputy and lifelong friend Damian Green after he made misleading comments about allegations that pornography was found on computers in his parliamentary office. The Prime Minister demanded his resignation as First Secretary of State after an independent advisor on ministers' interests, Sir Alex Allen, found he had breached the ministerial code. An internal investigation by the Cabinet Office found two statements Mr. Green made on November 4 and 11, which suggested he was not aware indecent material was found by police in a 2008 raid, were inaccurate and misleading. Mr. Green has admitted he made misleading statements but has again denied allegations that he downloaded or viewed pornography on his parliamentary computer, saying they are unfounded and deeply hurtful. He was one of the Prime Minister's closest allies and his resignation is a serious blow for her as she navigates Brexit negotiations. It is understood Mrs. May asked her right-hand man Mr. Green to resign after summoning him to Downing Street on Wednesday evening, and is not planning to replace him until the new year at the earliest. The inquiry was triggered after Kate Maltby, who is 3 decades younger than Mr. Green, claimed he fleetingly touched her knee during a meeting in a Waterloo pub in 2015, and a year later sent her a suggestive text message after she was pictured wearing a corset in a newspaper. In his resignation letter to Mrs. May, Mr. Green said he regrets having been asked to resign and apologized for breaches of the ministerial code. He again denied downloading or viewing pornography on his parliamentary computers. Mr. Green, a married father of 2, wrote, "I regret that I've been asked to resign from the government following breaches of the ministerial code, for which I apologize." He added, "From the outset I have been clear that I did not download or view pornography on my parliamentary computers. I accept that I should have been clear in my press statements that police lawyers talked to my lawyers in 2008 about the pornography on the computers, and that the police raised it with me in a subsequent phone call in 2013. I apologize that my statements were misleading on this point. The unfounded and deeply hurtful allegations that were being leveled at me were distressing both to me and my family, and it is right that these are being investigated by the Metropolitan Police's Professional Standards Department." Mrs. May said she was extremely sad to ask her close ally to resign but stressed his behavior falls short of the 7 principles of public life. She said she had carefully considered the findings of an investigation by Cabinet Secretary Sir Jeremy Haywood into statements Mr. Green made on November 4 and 11, which he has now accepted were inaccurate and misleading. The Prime Minister added, "This falls short of the 7 principles of public life and is a breach of the ministerial code," a conclusion which has been endorsed by Sir Alex Allen, the independent advisor on ministers' interests. "While I can understand the considerable distress caused to you by some of the allegations which have been made in recent weeks, I know that you share my commitment to maintaining the high standards which the public demands of ministers of the Crown. It is therefore with deep regret, and enduring gratitude for the contribution you have made over many years, that I asked you to resign from the government and have accepted your resignation." The report by Sir Jeremy found Mr. Green's statements were inaccurate and misleading as the Met had previously informed him of its existence. The Cabinet Secretary found the statements breached ministerial code and shared the findings with Sir Alex, who wrote to Mrs. May confirming the report is a clear and comprehensive account and that Mr. Green had breached the code. The Cabinet Secretary said that with competing and contradictory accounts of what were private meetings it was not possible to reach a definitive conclusion on the appropriateness of Mr. Green's behavior with Kate Maltby in early 2015, though the investigation found Ms. Maltby's account to be plausible. Overall, Mr. Green's conduct as a minister has generally been both professional and proper, it said. Mr. Green apologized to Ms. Maltby. He wrote, I deeply regret the distress caused to Kate Maltby following her article about me and the reaction to it. I do not recognize the events she described in her article, but I clearly made her feel uncomfortable, and for this I apologize." Mrs. May said, "You have expressed your regret for the distress caused to Ms. Maltby following her article about you and the reaction to it. I appreciate that you do not recognize the Eve.